There's this rule from the Treasury Department. They're going to ask for more intimate information, date of birth, citizenship. So they want to know where some of these hard money lenders are getting their money from, who's funding them. So that's going to be a big change for the industry, especially for cash transactions.
Hey, what's going on? Everybody out there, Indianapolis real estate investors or people interested in Indianapolis real estate. This is Brett Snodgrass with another episode of the Indy Investor Podcast. Got James Schultz on the podcast with me today. What's going on, James?
Not much. Another day in title paradise.
Sounds really boring. I'm just kidding. from my seat. Actually, it's not boring, guys. You guys are going to want to pay attention to this, as I've been paying attention a lot. And sometimes, we dig into some of these different rules and regulations, laws, or whatever, that are really affecting you as an operator, whether you're just getting in to Indianapolis real estate investing, whether you've been doing it for 30 years. We have, as a company and operations, we always have to pivot, and doesn't matter what you're doing. And I know that I've been doing this 18 years and I've had to pivot 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Now, I haven't had to pivot as much when it comes to some rules and regulations in those 18 years. I've had to pivot because of market, competition, different things of that nature. But we're going to really be diving in today, guys, because James Schultz is an expert, and he has an inside track to some of the rules and regulations that are coming down the pipe. He works at Momentum Title, by the way, and he's been really diving into rules and regulations that are going to be affecting you with compliance as a real estate investor. It's going to be affecting whether you're a wholesaler, a private lender, a flipper, a rental landlord, whatever it is. This can really, really affect you guys, and you're going to want to pay attention, not to freak everybody out. But we want to do things, and we want to do things right. And when there's new rules and regulations, we have to pay attention to what's kind of going on. So James, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Really appreciate it. Super excited to have you on, man. You're obviously in the inside track with some of these rules and regulations. You make trips out to Washington, D.C. You talk and rub shoulders with some politicians or people that are really sitting in the seats that are kind of putting these rules and regulations in place. Just kind of pull the curtain back for us a little bit. What are you kind of seeing out there?
So I like to touch a little bit basis about how I got into the position where I am, going to DC and meeting some of these people, and how I'm getting the inside track of some of these rules. Is that I'm also the chairman of the Government Affairs Committee for the Indiana Land Title Association. So just not on the federal level, but on the state level, I'm in the room with a lot of the decision makers, the Attorney General, Secretary of State, State House Representatives, state senators, on a lot of topics that does affect real estate, and some of these topics do affect investors. So a lot of the times I'm hearing the conversation in the room before it's even public. So
yeah, which is nice.
Gives me and also a lot of people who are in these conversations really don't have a good understanding of what it means to be an investor, what happens when you're doing a transaction as an investor, or having that viewpoint. They're just getting one side of the story, but not the other. So there are times where I'm able to at least speak up in the room to try to steer the conversation.
Yeah,
but
because obviously at the end of the day, and whether you believe it or not, the investors, they really help communities. Obviously, there's some bad apples out there, and they can hurt communities and take advantage of certain individuals. But look at the investors building apartment buildings, fixing up houses, placing renters in houses, giving people home ownership, doing whatever, right? I could go on and on and on and on. But the good, apples out there that are running trying to run a good business in this space, like we're so needed. We're so needed. If you didn't have investors, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the city. So that's my point.
I agree. I agree with you, and I actually pointed that out.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple times I've used you and your organization as an example of how you guys help the community. So that does go a long way by giving them a positive example, not just the negative examples that they see day in and day out.
Right.
And a lot of those negative examples I also point out to them are not our people from our state. A lot of them are more out of the state than in the state. There's fewer in state than there are out of state.
For sure. For sure.
So that's
Well,
a
sorry.
positive thing.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, sorry to interrupt you again. So you obviously are very, very connected. You are in the inside circles, listening to the chat conversations, Attorney General's office, whatever it looks like. You're connected. You know what's going to happen before it's going to happen, and this is just super good information. As a real estate investor, what do we want? We want to know what's going to happen before it's going to happen, so we know how to
Yeah.
pivot, right? So take us into
And
that world a little bit.
this, and that's a great way to lead into this one. So there's this rule from the Treasury Department, from the FinCEN division, which is like the financial crime division. And I don't have the rule number on top of my head, but it was supposed to be enacted December 1st, but due to obvious government delays, it's getting delayed to March 1st. So we have a 90-day breather room for this. So what this rule from FinCEN is going to be is that they're going to require 111 data point information when we're having a transaction that's involving a entity, trust, anything that's not a natural person and is a cash transaction or seller finance transaction, they're going to be requiring 111 data points to verify them to make sure it's not money laundering. So let's say you are selling to a LLC via land contract. That is going to mean it's going to fall under FinCEN's rules and regulations, and we're going to be requiring to ask all the parties involved about 100 data points of information. Good news is a lot of it is going to be what we already have. Name, location, email address, phone number, but they're going to ask for more intimate information, date of birth, citizenship. For hard money lenders, they're going to want to know is lending you the money. So they want to know where some of these hard money lenders are getting their money from, or who's funding them. So that's going to be a real joy for some of the big players to disclose who's funding their operations. So that's going to be a big change for the industry, especially for cash transactions. And of course, it's going to be very time consuming on the title side because we're going to have to gather all this information and we cannot close unless it's concluded. And that's going to, and this is a conversation that all the title agents have been having amongst each other, is how we're going to accommodate that. And pretty much everyone has come to the consensus is we're going to have to hire someone just to handle cash transactions who deals with investors. And that means prices are going to go up on cash transactions. And right now we don't know what that's going to look like. It could be $250, could be up to $500 is what we're getting the consensus across the country with the other agents that I've been communicating with. So, I mean, it's going to be a big change for everybody involved.
Yeah, definitely. So what does this look like? 111 data points. I mean, is this like something you guys are just you're filling out more documentation? Is this question and answer style? And what if they don't like the answers? Like, do people have to be citizens to buy a house? Or is it just really just collecting the information and going from there?
It's purely to collect information, has nothing to do with citizenship. The goal is to identify money laundering and trying to combat money laundering going across the country. There is an existing program called it's called TGOs, Targeted Geo Areas, and these are places like Chicago, Miami, LA, New York. I believe DC is one where they have this rule in place, but there's a threshold. I think it was like anything north of $50,000 has to be reported. it's good and bad. The good thing is it's been successful on stopping money laundering, which is for like money from cartels, other illegal businesses organizations. It's been
Mhm.
proven to catch those actors.
Mhm.
So since they had a good success rate with those targeted areas, the Treasury Department has the bright idea of, okay, we're going to do this nationwide, and there's no threshold anymore.
Mm.
It could be $100 transaction. We're still going to have to follow the same rules with FinCEN, which as an industry, we are trying to push back on the Treasury Department a little bit
Mhm.
to pull back the scope where it makes more sense because we're going to be facing situations where the fees are going to be more than the transaction, or it really doesn't make sense that they think a $5,000 transaction on some vacant land is going to fall under FinCEN, and they think that's money laundering.
Hmm.
So it's going
Can
to be
you
it's wide scope.
can you give us an example of money laundering? You use that term a few times. Like I don't even know like how do you money launder through real estate? Like I don't even know how to do that. And what does that kind of mean? Like can you give maybe an example? Like it could be a hypothetical
Yeah.
example, but how does someone
Yeah.
do that?
Well, I'm not sure how well this is going to come from that. I'm explaining how money laundering is going to be done through real
No
estate,
problem.
and don't take this as professional advice.
Right.
Uh, Pretty much what the mean is that you're trying to conceal the original source of money by
Mm.
taking dirty money. Let's say, um, I feel like this is a scene from Office Space.
Right.
So
Just a
let's say
couple of
you have a
pennies.
hundred. Yeah. Well, let's say you have $100,000 of dirty money, and you need to find a way to make it look clean. So what you're
Hmm.
doing is trying to use the money in another means to make it look legit. Let's say party B has a property that is agreeing to sell to you.
Mhm.
So you're paying at $100,000. So to that party B, that money looks clean.
Mhm.
I'm getting paid from this guy for this house. It's a legit transaction, and then it's reintroduced in the circulation.
Mm.
So party B will be like, I got my money from selling this house, when reality is in cahoots with somebody else trying just to wash that money.
Gotcha.
That's
Okay.
just one of the examples that I thought of how to explain when that question come up.
Yeah.
Not that I'm giving advice how to practice.
Yeah, we know your motive, James. Um, so obviously there's just this increased regulation coming down. I mean, we've
Mhm.
heard about wholesaling has been kind of a
Oh
hot
yeah.
topic button with other states, right?
Yep.
That's been a hot button. We got this FinCEN with money laundering, kind
Yeah,
of
that's nationwide. Yep.
that's nationwide. Um, can you talk about just this increased regulation? I mean, I have talked to people; they've been investing for 40 years, right? And then now it just seems like it just makes it really hard. As an operator, it's like everything seems like it's just getting harder and harder and harder to run a business, I guess.
Mhm.
In this space. It's like everything's much more expensive. It's just like, gosh, I mean, I just look at the last 10 years of us doing this business, just flooding the market. The market's up, property taxes up, insurance going up. You got inflation, that's going crazy. The values are through the roof. People can't afford houses. Interest rates are through the roof. You got
You're getting
regulations coming down the pipe. I'm like, gosh, this is getting difficult out there. And I just want to ask, like, just this increased regulation. I mean, can you talk about like what is it going on that like there's just so much just making it so difficult for operators out there?
well. I mean, to uh, to explain what at least what I see from my end, as a agent and what's one of the factors making this space so much difficult, I'm gonna be honest, it's the birth of YouTube.
Hmm.
The gurus that live in California, Puerto Rico, whatever, saying that you can make a quick $10,000 with minimal effort has really flooded the space.
Hmm.
And making light of this type of industry, you're getting all kinds of people coming in, and some are good actors and a lot of bad actors.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the bad actors that have really got the spotlight on wholesaling or anything along those lines by the state, which what the state is hearing is always the negatives.
For sure, yeah. I mean, anytime no
And
one's going, no one's going to the attorney general to say positive things.
no, the only person that is, and at least I know in our state, has been me.
Yeah,
Because like again, I'm the one that's been in the most communication with him, and anytime something like a laundry list of bad things come up, I'll give him some examples of what I've seen as a title agent of how some
Mhm.
of these people actually help people. I'm like, we had a scenario where a guy and his wife were losing their home to do foreclosure, but what they don't know that his wife was dying of cancer.
Hmm.
The investor that was buying the property made an agreement with them saying, while she's in hospice, you guys can stay in the house after the transaction, just alleviate that stress.
Right.
But what we couldn't control is the timing of everything. 2 days after closing, she passed away.
Hmm.
But the investor that bought the property, who's also does a lot of wholesaling, what he did was he's like, okay, I'm gonna give you the next 60 days to grieve and get your stuff together, and then we can help you find another place. So I
Right.
mean, that was a scenario I gave to the attorney general was you don't get that from a traditional transaction. A lot of the
Right.
traditional transactions are very rigid. You buy, you sell. You buy, you sell.
Right. Yeah.
Not working with people who are selling, so they're not out on the street.
For sure. No. Yeah, and you don't hear those stories. You don't hear the positive stories, and there's a lot of negative stories too.
Mhm.
Like it
Yeah,
depends on the person. If somebody would have bought the house, I'm like, no, you're out. I own a property. You get out, and have no compassion for
right.
the situation at all. Um,
Well,
yeah, you talk about like lenders. Obviously, that's a huge part of the industry. There's been so
mhm.
much regulation that's come down the pipe for lenders over the past several years. When there was the crash of 2008, right, was seemed like a long time ago now, but there was a lot of regulation trying to tighten up a lot of there's been movies made about that whole
Big
the
Short.
whole
Yep.
thing, right? So there's obviously been some regulations, but can you talk to from a private lenders, hard money lenders? You've said a little bit, just more scrutiny. Like, what do we have to be aware of? Are we going to be able to lend money? Yeah, can you talk about that a little bit more? Like, what do we have to be aware of in this space?
What I do know is, and this is information that we're as an organization, not ILTA, but ALTA, the American Land Title Association, the one that's over the entire country.
Hmm.
We've been going back and forth communications with the Treasury Department, and they've been dripping us information as time goes on. And for the lenders, the hard money lenders, the only thing that I'm aware of is going to be changed is the reporting requirements in a transaction.
Hmm.
They're going to want to know who owns the company, and they're going to want to know where the money's coming from and who's supplying the money if it's not your own.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you can still lend, you're just going to have more hoops to jump through. So that
Right.
might be something you, as a private lender or hard money lender, you may want to think about how you want as as a business handle that coming up.
Right. Yeah. No,
You can still
definitely.
lend, just going to be more hoops on the titles from the title companies you're going to jump through.
Right. Awesome. Hey guys, this is Brett Snodgrass with Simple Quarters. I want to let you know that you can earn passive income with a company that you can trust If you're looking for a safe and reliable way to earn a fair return on your hard-earned money, at Simple Quarters, we make it easy for you to invest passively. No work, no hassle, just steady returns. You don't have to buy a house. You don't have to fix anything. You don't have to hire a team or hire contractors. You really just want to earn a return on your investment. Then I would love to chat with you. We have a proven track record with great references. Your money should be working for you, and with Simple Quarters, you can invest confidently with a team that delivers results. You can email me at brett@simplequarters.com. You can check out our website, simplequarters.com. You can even text me on my local cell phone number at 812-216-8602. 812-216-8602. Again, I'm talking about earning an extremely passive income with a trusted company. Email me or text me today. Let's chat soon. Let's talk about do you have any talk about the wholesaling industry? I want to talk about that a little bit. It's obviously regulations, things like that. And there was, if you guys want to look it up again, YouTube blows things up, like you said, James. And there was a group of wholesalers out in Arizona that I was watching YouTube on that had that there's a big lawsuit, a class action lawsuit going on from a group of wholesalers over the last 10 years of business, and they called it stripping equity, right? From the homeowners, stripping equity. So there's certain lawsuits coming down the pipe that I haven't seen much of before. We've had some states that are trying to ban wholesaling and have, even though people aren't really following the rules, because again, maybe waiting for action to be taken place. Yeah, there's a law out there, but we'll do it until someone tells us to stop, right?
Right. Got it.
But yeah, what's this industry? Obviously, I feel like Indiana is always one of the lagging behind states to implement anything. So we got West Coast, East Coast doing some things. What's your
Yeah,
take
and,
just
and
on
that's
wholesaling
um
and the
I'm
regulations?
glad you brought I'm glad you brought that up. Um from the conversations I've been uh part of or witness to, regulation wise, it really has not been too much discussed. They know there's something they want to do, but as a state, they're not 100% sure how they want to approach it.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's right now gaining traction, and it's because of the way it's been being used, is the whole notice of interest. How people are recording NOIs
Mm,
to cloud title. You have very predatory contracts that are drawn up by the parties. It's recorded. It's been 3 months, 6 months, 12 months down the road. They couldn't dispose of the property because they got too high and none of the investor wants to buy.
mm-hmm.
And they want to be paid out in order to release the contract, or they're going to try to sue said individual.
Right.
So the picture I'm trying to paint is trying, like when they bring up about if there's ever talk about banning wholesaling, I try to nudge the conversation by pointing out the positive actors that have helped community,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of like following suit with every other state, how about let's try to take some of the negative tools away. So I think in the next year, or either this coming up session or the next session, I do think there's going to be something proposed to at least address notice of interest.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I have not have anything come across my desk from any of our reps about wholesaling itself. If
Mm-hmm.
I was part of the conversation, I probably won't. I probably would steer it towards more, have it to become more regulated industry than a banned industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
No,
it's
that's
an easier thing to sell to the state too. Uh, they can double dip. You
mm-hmm.
have your wholesaling license, and then you can have your realtor license,
Hmm.
and then that's where you can get into the meats and potatoes of the true differences of the
Yeah.
two. But I do
Yeah.
think it's easier to sell to the state of having have a regulated, have a professional code of conduct that has to be followed, and we can move on like that. So that is
Yeah.
the way I try to steer the conversations.
Yeah.
So so
Yeah. No, that's
it's on
great.
the table, but
Yeah.
they really made a huge decision on what they want to do.
Yeah. No, that's great, and I agree with that, right? I mean, to be a wholesaler, you don't have to have any credentials behind your name. You don't have to go through anything at all. So yeah, I mean, there's I look maybe the car industry. Like if you do so much volume, if you do so many things, then maybe you have to have a license, right, of some sort.
Yeah.
And what does that look like? So, uh, real estate investing license of some sort. I don't know,
Well,
something like
not
that.
to yeah. Well, really not to toot your horn or anything, but I do think your organization, Simple Quarters, your guys' monthly meetup is, in my opinion, a good building block
Mhm.
of what good ethics and how you should treat people in these transactions ought to be. So
Mhm.
if there's a way I can pull what you guys do in your guys' monthly meetups and try to inject it a little bit in the States and have
Mhm.
that type of influence in the conversations, I think it'll be better for everyone involved.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I think, no, thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. I mean, we do our best. We're obviously not perfect. And, there's things we're doing, maybe we go too fast. There's things that we're like, oh man, we could do that a little bit better. But, yeah,
At
just
least
trying to think
say,
more than just the profits, right? It's like, okay,
mhm,
how do we think about the communities? How do we think about the individuals? How do we think about people? How do we think about this was my grandmother or my mother or my sister or my dad or whatever? Trying to think through all that, and it's a delicate balance, at the end of
mhm.
the day, because we are a business. We do want to make a profit, um, and we do want to be in compliant. Um, but like I said, I mean, they have made it. It is starting to be difficult. I've
Mhm.
seen so many people exit this industry already. It's just making it very difficult. And I'm like, okay, how do we do this easier but regulate it? So,
Mhm.
anyways, it's just all these different things. For us as a company, so what do we need to kind of really be watching out for? I mean, we do some flipping, we do buy all of our properties, we do some creative financing, right?
Mhm.
We do some of that stuff. I just want to make sure, like, what do we really need to watch out for? Is it just transparency of ownership and documenting the transaction, which we try to do anyways, I guess, and that's more the title company thing. Um, is that it, or do we need to think about something else?
Right now, your organization is the exception, not the rule when it
Hmm.
comes to all that. Because there's a lot of stuff I will tell other investors to be mindful and pay attention to that you guys are already doing.
Hmm.
You guys are already diligent. You guys already know what you're doing, and even if a mistake's made, you guys are quick to own it up and rectify the problem as fast as humanly possible. Unlike other competitors I've seen where it's not the case.
Hmm.
So right now, being pre-March of 26, anything that can be done, you guys are already doing.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, After March of 26, when FinCEN does come into place, and I'm quite confident we're going to have more than one conversation about the whole FinCEN thing and the effects of it. Then we might have to discuss what those transactions are going to be looking like in the future because the cost is going to go up, or if there's going to be a solution to the problem, or how you want to even entertain going down that genre of selling to entities or to trusts
Yeah,
going
for
in the
sure.
future.
No, for sure. For sure. No, that's great. That's great. That's great news. So obviously there's a lot of things kind of going on, and I would just say, hey, keep your eyes and your ears open for new podcasts like this, regulations coming down the pipe. I do want to ask one thing that I don't know you if there's any conversations about this particular topic, but it's more the topic of how we market. So a lot of marketing goes out with real estate investors, and I've been seeing again, things with large real estate agent companies, class action lawsuits on cold calling, texting, right? That's been a hot topic for a while. Any outbound marketing. I think homeowners are getting very tired, right? And exhausted from the amount of volume that they get from people reaching out to them. I know for me, for one, and we do marketing, right? We do marketing,
Mhm.
but my phone probably goes off 10 times a day. Now we own a lot of properties, so I'm not like the
Yes,
normal homeowners. Like we own a bunch of properties, so or rental properties, so might be a little bit different. But have you seen any talks and chats around regulation on how we market, cold calling, texting? There's been some regulation, but again, I've seen large Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, things like that. Agencies get some of these lawsuits, which are big, but I'm not sure on the real estate investing community, some of the small guys, right? I don't
I
know.
do think you gotta be mindful of the do not call list.
Mhm,
I know last time I was in a meeting with the attorney general over homeowners division, Chase. He briefly made a comment about how the transaction started. Was it a phone call or was it answering a letter?
hmm,
The context behind it, I do want to say there is a statute out there. I have not been able to find it, but my next conversation with the IDOI is later this month.
mhm,
And it's IDOI and the Mortgage Tax Fraud uh, Committee from the state. So that's where the Secretary of State's there, the Attorney General is there, and the Department of Insurance is there. So I can get a little bit clarification from Chase as to what statute he was referring to because I
mhm,
was having a hard time locating it. But
mhm,
I do know, I don't know what the Indiana code is, but I do remember what the House bill was back in 1588 about at least outgoing correspondence. If you're
mhm,
not a licensed realtor, you need to disclose that on your postcards, your letters that you're not licensed realtor.
mhm. Right. Yeah. And if you are, and it's, we send out some letters, things like
Mhm.
that. Sometimes we disclose that we are right, that we are
Mhm.
licensed. But I'm just, yeah, it's getting really interesting. Because it's just getting heavy. I think just the more, like you said, YouTube gurus, all the knowledge out there. It's like, yeah, your phone used to ring once a week or a couple times. Now it's like 10 times a day. I'm like, okay, this is
Oh,
getting a little heavier.
well,
A
and
little
even
bit. And
even
plus with
I'm getting
AI and robocalls and robo texters, and it's
oh
getting a
yeah,
little heavy.
and I have a feeling with the addition of AI, we're going to see more coming down the pipeline. And I
Yeah.
mean, even what I do for a living, sometimes I find it funny on some of the people who are calling me about my house. And I'm like, yeah, we just had one of you guys' transactions this week. So, like, yeah, I'm not selling today.
Right. Yeah, yeah. And it's okay again if it's a little bit here and there, but I can understand why people are getting
Burned
annoyed.
out.
Yeah, they're
Yep.
getting burned out, they're getting annoyed. You're like, this stinks. I'm gonna call the Eternal General, things like that. So it's just one of
That
those interesting.
that's that's how it gets started.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, James, thank you so much for being on the podcast today, the Indie Investor Podcast. I really appreciate it, man. Thanks for all your knowledge. Guys, this is not here to freak you out. It's here just to be aware. If you're going to run a business, let's run it right. And it's like, you're always having to pivot compliance wise too. We've seen
Mhm.
the real estate agent world have to completely pivot from a lawsuit that came down the pipe with buyer agency commission stuff, right? And it's like
Oh
probably
yeah.
freaked everyone out. Now it's just completely changed all the paperwork. So it's just one of those things. If you're going to do business, you just have to have the knowledge and then try to put it into practice and just do the best you can. And I think at the end of the day, if you treat people right and have the right motive and try to do the best you can, you're not going to get it right every time, but at least you're gonna. I think that's yeah, what you're gonna have to do in this business. So James, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Appreciate you, buddy.
My pleasure.